somebody would have one. That was Red Red Wine, UB40, written by Neil Diamond. And obviously he did the superior version. 19 minutes to 5 o'clock, it is BBC Radio Lancashire, and it's Sean McGinty in for Brett Davison. Now, do you remember science at school? The periodic table, a scary diagram of all the elements, and you had to learn them all by heart. Well, at Collegiate High School in Blackpool, their new intake, Year 7 as it's known now, can learn about science, maths, English and computing with a device that sits in the palm of their hand. The iPod Touch is that device, and every one of the new pupils has one. Lewis Hall, who's the Year 7 pastoral manager at Collegiate, I spoke with him the other day and I asked him first, why this particular device?
Well, we looked at different devices on the market, including netbooks, laptops, to see what was available. And we wanted a device which would have a battery which would last a full day. We wanted something where they could photograph their work, go up to the board and photograph what was wrote on the board. And we wanted a device that was easy to use. That was the most important thing. It had to be easy to use. And we found that the iPod Touch was that device. That was the device that did everything that we wanted. So
for those that don't know, explain sort of the size and shape of an iPod Touch. What is it? It's like a smartphone-looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a smartphone. It's a little handheld device, completely touchscreen, so you get a nice big screen on it, and it has access to the Apple's App Store, which has thousands and thousands of apps in it. So an app is like a little application. And these could be maths games, they could be books, they could be science games. So there's loads of educational apps out there. And so far the students have downloaded 976 apps in just 3 months. So they are really utilising the technology that's behind the iPod Touch.
And how does this compare with last year without the iPod Touches? In terms of what you feel progression-wise and learning?
Yeah, last year learning ended at 3 o'clock when school finishes. Learning was over then. Some would take books home, but it was very, very old-fashioned to take a book home and have to lug it home and then bring it back. So we found that students have actually downloaded apps themselves. They found apps themselves and come in the next day and said, "Oh, look at this maths game that I found," and they're actually continuing to learn at home without even knowing that they're learning because they think they're playing a game.
Right, so these young people are fresh out of primary school. There's been a whole different kind of way of learning. It seems to me if they've got the device in their hand, you're kind of giving them the learning back. They're more responsible for this.
Absolutely, yeah. We found that a lot of the kids wouldn't go to the front of the class and pick up a dictionary to look up a word they wouldn't understand, but they'll quite happily now get their iPod out of their pocket and Google the word to find the definition of it, to use it within some creative writing, or they use the calculator on it for maths when we're doing some maths work with the calculator.
Give us your favourite app. What does it do? Is it a maths app? What is your favourite app that you've come across in the last 3 months?
I'd say my favourite app was an app, a science app called The Elements. And it's got the periodic table on it, and you can click on each of the individual elements, and it gives you a really high-definition picture of each of the elements and explains what it does, when it was found. You can scroll up and down at the side, and it tells you its state at different temperatures, and the kids really enjoy using that.
Well, that would have been, in my day, as it were, a book with, 1,000 pages in and rooting around trying to find each bit of information, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a still picture, yeah. And the thing is, books, they get out of date, but obviously with access to the internet, the apps constantly update themselves, so we're always up to date with the latest information.
The government's talking about IT and the education of young people within IT because, the knowledge economy, and we really need to kind of get ourselves sorted and create some jobs in this country. These young people aged 11 and 12, is getting them involved with this going to help them later, maybe with coding or getting involved with using computers at a higher level?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, most of the kids in year 10 and 11 have IT maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but these students are getting IT every single day. They've constantly got access to the IT. They're writing notes when they want to remember things. They're going up to the front of the class and taking photographs of what the teachers wrote on the board. And that's one thing which we expected some really good positives from the iPod Touch, but there were certain things which we didn't expect and we didn't envisage would happen, such as students going to the front and taking a photograph of what's on the board, so they've got that forever then.
How brilliant is that? I wish they'd have had that at my school many years ago, St Joseph's College in Blackpool. They didn't give us iPod Touches, they just beat us every now and again, and that was how the education worked then. That's Lewis Hall, who was the Year 7 Pastoral Manager at Collegiate High School in Blackpool. We'll hear more on that subject later with some of the young people and a member of the management team. It's BBC Radio Lancashire, just coming up to 14 minutes to 5. 26 minutes and a half past 5 o'clock. So back now to Collegiate High School in Blackpool, where this year's new intake have cast aside the books and they're doing all the learning on iPod Touches. Now that's a handheld device with a touchscreen that looks and acts like a smartphone. So what do the Year 7s themselves think about this new technology in their brand new school?
Like, if you don't understand some words, you can always go on a dictionary or you can research something on Google.
Because you can research and find out stuff quicker than like going on to your laptop.
Okay, now I was talking before with Lewis about the apps that you've downloaded. And you've downloaded, I think, nearly 1,000 apps, wasn't it, in 3 months? What's your favourite?
It's the QR scanner.
Oh, right, so you can get things off newspapers, off the telly?
Yeah, and you can look at it on the website.
I would say it's the QR scanner as well, because the teachers, they put something on the board, and if, like, they say you can't, if you can't understand it, this could help you, and it goes onto a website, and it can help you.
So all you do is you kind of then you'd walk up to the board with your iPod Touch, you kind of take a photograph.
Yeah. Sort of, yeah. It scans it, and then you can press launch website, and then it goes onto it.
Do you think it makes the teachers lazy? They just go on, educate yourselves.
Not really.
No. They're still there for you, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. What's your name, please?
Laura.
Okay, Laura, what do you think about these iPod Touches? This is a bit different from a pen and a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's like new technology and fun.
Do you think it will help your education?
Yeah, because like you can sort of look up anything instead of going to a certain place to find a computer to log on and stuff like that.
Can't you just put your hand up and ask the teacher?
Yeah, true. But it's still better because like you're sort of doing it yourself and like...
So you're finding out for yourself?
Yeah.
Do you like that about it? What's your name?
Holly.
You're Holly. Do you like the fact that you can kind of just get involved yourself and find out your own stuff that you want to find out?
Yes, because you can learn outside of the classroom as well, so you don't need a teacher by your side.
What's the stuff you've been doing in the last 3 months that you've most enjoyed kind of looking for on your iPod?
French words, like translating the Google Translator, that's good. The QR scanner is a really good source of trying to find information as well.
So what happens on this? Is it? I mean, can you do anything on it? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you messing around with Tumblr? Stumble upon? Where do you go with this?
When you're in class, you're not allowed to play games. That's just something we're not allowed to do, obviously. But people sometimes do it during break time. But some people also go on to like maths games and stuff like that. So they do still learn whilst they're playing.
What's your favourite game where you can learn?
Monty's Quest.
And what happens there? What is it?
There's like a range of like division and times tables on it, and you'll have to go onto all the times tables and answer them all.
How brilliant was that? And it was absolutely fantastic to meet those young people. That was Nicole, Callum 1, Callum 2 and Callum 3. Yes, there were 3 Callums. There was 6 pupils and 3 Callums. And also you heard Laura and Holly telling us what they think about the iPod Touch, using the iPod Touch in the classroom. And I hope you understand what's been going on there. It's absolutely amazing to see it. They've got these little phone-type things in their hand, and they can just get these apps. And, you know, it might sound like games, but as you heard in the Holly speaking there at the end, the little app she's using is all about times tables. Anyway, next we're going to hear what one of the scary head teacher type people think. It's 6 o'clock. Back to Collegiate High School in Blackpool now, and these Year 7s who are all teched up with something called an iPod Touch. It's a bit like a smartphone. So perhaps, understandably, the young people involved are enjoying this new way of learning. But it's not just the technology that makes this interesting. It's a different kind of teaching. I took a walk down to the next classroom to find out more. Although they don't call them classrooms at Collegiate in Year 7, they call them pods. So we've heard from some of the young people here at Collegiate, some of the Year 7s, and they've been talking about these iPod Touches. We've heard about what they think of it, but let's find out what one of these pods is. We know what an iPod Touch is, but what is a pod? And hopefully this person in front of me will tell me. Who are you, please?
Hello, my name's Jill Smith. I'm the Deputy Head Teacher at Collegiate High School. Welcome to the pods.
Thank you very much. Right, well, I've heard about the iPod Touches, and I've spoken to Lewis about sort of some of the reasons why and some of the advantages of having it, and some of the young people have told me what they think of it. As part of the management team here, what did you think about this when somebody first said, what about giving them all iPod Touches?
OK, well, we were thinking long and hard about how we could transform learning at Collegiate High School. We had a number of issues with falling roles in the school, and we were looking at changing the curriculum and how we approached teaching and learning. So we did visits across the country and started looking at how we could incorporate new technologies and bring our practice up to speed, if you like, with the world in which the children grow up in. And we researched the use of iPod touches as one medium because we felt that they were small enough to go in a blazer pocket, they were instantly accessible, the children could take them home, and they weren't as cumbersome as them all having a laptop.
It's not just about little bits of technology, is it? It's also about the way that you organise the first year of secondary school.
Absolutely right, yeah. We've completely changed the way that we teach Year 7. We've created here the Year 7 pods, and you stood in Pod A at the moment, and you see this is a double-sized classroom, which now has 45 children in at any one time. The 45 children are sat in groups, each with an iPod touch. The teachers have an iPad, and so they can instantly access the same work that the teacher is describing. And the groups are organised according to the teachers that are coming in at the time. So we may have specialist maths teachers in pod, we may have specialist English teachers in pod, we may have science, geography, but we try and integrate the learning so that the children are project based.
Talk to me about the quad, because they've been involved in a project to try and upgrade an area of the school which perhaps looks a little bit downbeat at the moment. But it's not just like, oh, you know, get some paint and we'll spend some money and do this. They're out there ringing people trying to sort this out, aren't they?
That's absolutely correct, yeah. The students here have got this pod is their base, and they have a quad just outside that's their outdoor space. It looks like a prison exercise yard. It's really dull and grey and uninspiring. So part of their learning this term has been around what we call wellbeing in the community, and the end product of the term's learning is for them to redesign the quad themselves. So they've spent the term studying various themes, like what Blackpool means to them, how to improve their health and well-being, and ultimately at the end of the term they come up with designs for the quad, but they have to raise the money to make those designs come to life.
It's very challenging, isn't it?
Completely challenging. It takes them way beyond not expected norms at this age. So we did have students last week phoning up retail stores and local shops about how the price of paint, the price of wood, the price of plants, negotiating discounts on that. And then
sounds like The Apprentice.
Absolutely. It was like Dragon's Den. They did a pitch then to the head teacher, the governors and to some other staff to put forward their ideas and to talk about the budget, how much they'd managed to raise, and then they wanted to pitch for more money from the governors to make that dream come true.
Look, this is all about improving the education of these young people. You've got 5 years with these young people. At the end of 5 years, if I come back, do you think these young people will be better educated than the ones that came before them?
Absolutely. I mean, these young people have learned real life skills. We've given them learning situations that make them step out of their comfort zone. So they're learning social skills, manners, respect, real life budgeting. It's all relevant. But beyond that, they're also starting accredited courses. So next term after Christmas, these guys are starting BTEC Science. By the end of Year 7, they will have half a BTEC. So we're pushing them already to step up to doing qualifications that 14 and 15-year-olds are doing in the rest of the country.
How brilliant is that? That's Jill Smith, Deputy Head Teacher at Collegiate High School in Blackpool. And there was another room I went in, which was a kitchen room, and there was, I don't know, about a dozen Year 7s in there, all preparing what I can only describe as a feast, a banquet for some visitors that were coming in, and they'd invited the visitors, they'd designed the menu, they were cooking it themselves. And if you heard Jill Smith speaking there, she's the Deputy Head Teacher at Collegiate, she was also saying about this quad they've got, which is their own sort of Year 7 space, and Year 7 is the first year of secondary school. And you know, you walk past it and it does, I mean, she describes it as a prison yard. Well, it does look a bit like that, and the young people themselves are just getting on the phone and ringing people and trying to sort of get quotes and black stuff that they can off big shops, and it was an amazing and humbling trip to Collegiate High School in Blackpool. Now another Blackpool subject, and that is a subject of the